Jaylen only wanted to open a business account and deposit a check. Simple enough, right? But when a bank employee dismissed him because of how he looked, she had no idea that his father was one of the most powerful CEOs in the city. What happened next sent shockwaves through the branch and taught everyone present a lesson they'd never forget. It was a crisp Tuesday afternoon in downtown Chicago. The air buzzed with energy. People hurried down the sidewalk with purpose, phones glued to their ears and coffee cups in hand. Inside one of the city's most prestigious banks, a quiet storm was brewing. A young black man named Jaylen stepped to the grand glass doors, clutching a folder and a signed check for $250,000, his seed money to launch his dream business. But from the moment he entered, all eyes seemed to judge him, and one employee in particular had already made up her mind about who she thought he was. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notification bell to get notified for more. Share to friends. Where are you watching from? Please tell us in the comments. We love seeing how far our story goes. Jaylen was tall, well-groomed, and dressed in a clean hoodie and dark jeans. He wasn't flashy, but he had presence. Confident, calm, and sharply articulate. As he waited in line, he rehearsed his pitch in his head, determined to get his first company account open with the right tone and professionalism. When his turn finally came, he stepped up to the counter where a woman named Karen sat, middle-aged, sharply dressed, and with a frozen smile that didn't reach her eyes. She barely looked up from her screen. "How can I help you?" she asked flatly, her fingers still tapping. "I'm here to open a business account," Jaylen replied, placing the folder and check on the counter. "I also want to deposit this to fund it." Karen's eyes flicked to the check, then to Jaylen's face. Her expression shifted, just slightly, but enough. "This is quite a large amount," she said, frowning. "Where'd you get this check?" Jaylen blinked. "It's from an investor. Everything's legit. All the paperwork is here. Do you have an appointment?" "I was told I could walk in. I called this morning." She sighed, then leaned back in her chair with a smirk. "Look, we have policies. We don't just let anyone open an account of this size, especially with a check like this. Do you even have a business license?" Jaylen calmly pulled out the official documentation. "Yes, LLC registered last week. EIN from the IRS. Articles of incorporation. I've got everything you need." Karen didn't even look at the documents. Instead, she pressed a button under the desk. "Security will be with you shortly. We take fraud very seriously," she said with a falsely sweet tone. "It's best you leave before things get out of hand." The standoff. Jaylen's face didn't change. He stood still, not flinching, not raising his voice. "Ma'am, I think you made a mistake." "I don't think so," she said coldly. Within moments, a guard approached. "Is there a problem?" "Yes," Karen replied, before Jaylen could speak. "This individual presented a suspicious check and refuses to leave." The guard turned to Jaylen. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Jaylen took a breath and reached into his pocket. Not for his phone, not for any document, but for one small item, his father's business card. He handed it to the guard. "Before you kick me out, maybe look up that name." The guard glanced at the card and paused. His eyes went wide. Wait, are you related to Mr. Miles T. Walker? Of Walker and Chase Holdings." Jaylen nodded. "That's my father." The entire tone of the room shifted. Karen's mouth fell open slightly. She looked over, stunned, but still defensive. "No way," she muttered. "That's impossible." But it wasn't. The arrival. Within 10 minutes, a sleek black BMW pulled up in front of the bank. Out stepped a man in a tailored navy suit, mid-50s, dignified and powerful without ever raising his voice. Miles T. Walker. The name was legendary in Chicago's business circles. Real estate mogul, investor, CEO of one of the largest black-owned firms in the Midwest. He walked straight in, eyes scanning the lobby until he found his son. "Jaylen, you all right?" Jaylen nodded. "Try to open the account. She said I was suspicious." Karen's face turned red. She stammered, I didn't know who he was." Miles turned to her with a calm, razor-sharp intensity. "That's exactly the problem. You shouldn't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect. Karen froze, lips parted. Miles continued. You judged him by the color of his skin and the clothes on his back. You saw a young black man, an assumed criminal, not entrepreneur, not visionary, just a threat. The bank manager came rushing out. Mr. Walker, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. Karen, please step aside. Karen, red-faced and silent, was quietly escorted away. The manager bent over backwards, apologizing, offering to handle Jayden's account personally. But Miles wasn't done. You can't just fix systemic bias with a few apologies and handshakes, he said, not to the staff, but to the customers watching, listening. What happened here is bigger than one interaction. It's about the assumptions that run deep in this country, about who we value and who we push aside. The twist. As Jayden and Miles finished the account setup with the manager, the woman from security, Latasha, approached quietly. She had witnessed everything and was holding back tears. I just wanted to say, thank you. My nephew went through something like this last year. They cuffed him in a bank just for trying to cash his first paycheck. He's only 17. Jayden nodded. We hear these stories all the time. That's why we have to keep showing up, keep pushing forward. Latasha handed Jayden a card. If your new business ever needs security, I run a private firm. Black-owned. Just putting it out there. Jayden smiled and took the card. I'll keep that in mind. The message. As they left the bank, Jayden turned to his father. Thanks for coming down. You didn't need me, Miles said. You held your ground. That's power. But I showed up because silence allows this to keep happening. Jayden looked up at the skyline, imagining his future company's name on one of the towers. I want to build something that changes things. Miles clapped a hand on his shoulder. Then build it, not just for yourself, but for every kid who's been told they didn't belong in the room. I hope you enjoyed the story. If you were Jayden, what would you have done? If you haven't subscribed till now, please do. Your support means a lot. See you on our next story.